Hi guys, it's Humpday lesson day. How you guys doing? So time for lesson. First, I want to say I learned something the other day from just using of this is my drum machine, drum pedal. I finally figured out what works on it and how to do it a little bit better. But I did it after messing totally everything up on a certain song or take or something. I figured out that it's a looper and a drum beat pedal, and the button that usually is in place of the turning off and on a pedal is really just starting the looper. It's not turning the drum machine on and off, LOL. So one time I was doing a take and I was trying to get the drum machine off and I kept changing the looper part of the pedal and it just messed up the whole sound. But what I've learned is you just forget about the pedal, the button that does the looping. I don't need a looper. I don't need something to repeat something I do over and over. I need the drum part. And for that, all you do is hit there's one button that's not the main button, but it's a button that you can start the drummer and then stop it. So if I hit like this, that starts it. If I hit it again, it stops it. See, that's all I needed to do. And then it just has a volume and for the drum thing, and it has a type of beat you want, rock, reggae, whatever. You can change the beat up as far as the sound of the beat. So I figured that out. But that's not a lesson so much for you guys, but it's just in case anybody out there has a drum looper. And to know that I learned that. I do learn, actually. I do actually go, oh, I did that wrong. Let me try that again. I do actually learn. So anyway, back now to the actual lesson. I don't always teach songs, because to me that's just what someone else played. It doesn't mean you're learning anything, even if you know it. But I just did Cult of Personality by Living Color recently, and our mailman, I know him by name. I gave him or his son, I forget which, lessons about 4 years ago. I forget. He had me in his house, and I was either teaching his son or him. I forget. But now he's a mailman, and he's not a fan of me really, but he's a enthusiastic non-fan. But he has his own ideas about what to do in music, and he doesn't really take my opinion very seriously, I don't think. And for the part in Cult of Personality, the intro, he just swears up and down that you play it only using the first 3 frets. And I told him no, but he seems to think he figures everything out and whatever. But I'm here to just show that I'm going to play some of the licks on Cult of Personality, and you guys can take it or leave it, but it's just what I believe Vernon Reid was playing. I think that the mailman was going like this. That's not how Vernon does it. It's not open strings. It's 3rd fret of the 6th string, 3rd fret of the 4th string, 5th fret of the 8th string, 3rd fret of the G of the 6th string, and then 2nd fret of the 4th string. It's not open strings pulling on and off. That would sound different. It wouldn't be a different sound, and Vernon doesn't do that. It's all in the 3rd fret box, pentatonic pattern. It's not pulling on the open D string. He's just not doing that. That's not how he does it. And that may be a subtle thing that who cares, but it's there. It does make a difference. And it's harder to do it the right way, and that's why people like the mailman don't like to do that. They just want to pull off just whatever easiest for the fingers, but that's not always what the actual artist did, nor what sounds better. So there's no open strings involved in this. And then for the first chord, and the mailman didn't even know there was a chord in there. He's just really not very smart. But sorry about that, mailman. But there's a chord that he goes. I really like that chord. He goes. That chord is first of all brilliant, but second of all a ripoff of Jimi Hendrix. But hey, we all rip off everybody else in music. That's just how you learn. That's a G dominant ninth chord, but it's a very interesting voicing of it. There's no open strings in this chord. It's not an open G. It's not an open G like that. It's all it's a chord that Jimi Hendrix used in If 6 Was 9 from Axis Bold as well. So the low sixth string has the third fret. The fourth string has the third fret. That's the minor seventh interval. The third string has the second fret. That's the ninth interval. Then the second string has the third fret. That's the fifth. And then the sixth, the high E string, the first string has the third string again for the double octave of the root on the sixth string. I love that chord, but that's not out of context. It would seem like, wow, how do you think of that? But actually, it's in the same voicing as in If 6 Was 9 when Hendrix goes. So, you know, if a 6 turn out to be 9, I don't mind. I don't care. I don't care. That's in If 6 Was 9. That's the second Hendrix chord that should have been named, but it goes over people's heads and people are dumb and don't realize that the easy chord is 7 sharp 9. That's actually cool. That's very good. But there's also this ninth chord that should have been the Hendrix chord number 2, but nobody bought it. Nobody hooked on it, or nobody latched onto it. But Vernon did because he plays it in G. I salute you, Vernon, for knowing that chord and for using it in the song so tastefully. Beautiful chord. It can also be thought of as all notes of a pentatonic scale, but not on the root because it's got the second fret, not the third fret. It's not all across the third fret. It's more like if you play a G, if you play it in G, it's like you were playing a D minor pentatonic, but on the fourth position. Does that go over everybody's? So if I play G minor pentatonic, if I play it in G on the G note, on the G fret, you get that's got a flat, and then that would be, if you take out the fifth string, you just hit, that's the G dominant 9 chord, which fits because if D is the 2 or Dorian, then G would be the 5 or Mixolydian. 2, 3, 4, 5, D, E, F, G. So G is the Mixolydian. It's actually considered the fourth position, the position, the fourth up of a D minor pentatonic scale. But instead, you're playing it on G and making it a G9 chord. So it's just names aren't that names are important, but in this case they shift. You can call it whatever. There's many ways of looking at it. So like in Hendrix's idea, when he played it in A, that could be an E minor pentatonic on the fifth fret position. That's E minor. Up here, you have that flat right here, and then if you make that a chord and take out the fifth string, you get it. Voila! You get an A dominant 9 chord. Six turn out to be 9. I don't mind. I don't mind. You guys get the gist. So I love that, but I love that Vernon Reid uses that in an actual song in the 80s, not forgetting Hendrix's inventions of chords. He was, wow. I mean, there's another chord Hendrix did I like. The Castle's Made of 9 chord. Castle's Made of Sand chord. But I won't get into that right now. But Hendrix was new chord. You can make songs out of it, you know. Like the Castle Made of Sand when he does the outro. It's actually an sus2. It's a sus2 chord. That's voiced really interestingly. If you're an A, it'd be the 5th fret of the 6th, 7th fret of the 4th, 5th fret of the 2nd, 2nd fret of the 1st. And it's like, then it goes into the verses. He cries, "Oh girl, you must be mad. What happened to the sweet love, you and me?" You know, that kind of thing. Brilliant. My Hendrix was so great. Anyway, now for the tricky lick of what do you call it? Cult of personality. I did this by ear, so I don't know what the dang tabs say, but that's not how I learned. What I got out of the fast part is this is how I do it. I'll slow it down. You know, it takes, you have to hear it well because it's fast. So it's just. Oh, let's try this. So, and ask not, and I won't go on about how I knew that versus how the actual quote was in history. Anyway. Oh, no open strings in that either. There's no open strings ringing out. Anyway. And this is some Pacific song licks. I'm going to do some more of this, except this time I'm going to shift gears to Steve Vai. I'm not going to go on about, you can, there's tablatures that have everything these days, so what point is me to tell you all the notes? But let me just go over some of his licks and what I think of some of the phrasing or you know, the notes. So in Big Trouble, he does a solo in E major / E Lydian. Starts in E Lydian and ends in E Ionian. And I like the way F sharp minor 7th or F sharp Dorian fits E Ionian, so it all works. That's the outro to the solo. You know, you get the, you know. It's F sharp, minor pentatonic, 2nd fret, bar, G sharp, which is the Phrygian position, and if it's F sharp Dorian, it's G sharp Phrygian. That's all barred, and then an octave higher, the F sharp Dorian again, 14th fret, and then just make it into a lead. And then in Elephant Gun, he's also an F sharp Dorian, because the song is in F sharp Dorian. This time it's not E Ionian, but it's F sharp Dorian. And he does something like this. I was going back to the 4th fret up from a pentatonic. You have to flat a note, and then the 5th fret for the 5th up, you have to sharp a note. Let me explain. if I'm in F sharp minor pentatonic, the 5 frets up position is this has a flat, but the 7 fret up position has a sharp, and that sharp is cool too. So if you're an F sharp Dorian, and I'm going to go like this, that adds the G sharp Phrygian to the mix. Go up 5 frets, you would have a flat involved. Go up 7 frets, you have a sharp involved. Now here's the trick: go up an octave on that part. So instead of playing the 7 frets up, play 19 frets up, and that would be up here. 17 frets up would be this. With a flat, 19 frets up would be this. With a sharp, and that's how he does the lick. You know, that elephant gun. I don't remember it all yet. That's, you know, that's been a long time since I played that, but that's the gist of it. But that lick is 19 frets up, so it's 7 frets up plus an octave. 12 and 7 is 19. You get this lick out of the way. I'll have to revisit some of those things. I haven't done them in so long. I was gonna do every month. I was gonna do the monthly Eat 'em and Smile, but when David Lee Roth basically gave me the finger, I didn't back that up. I didn't continue to do that. He's gonna, either he wasn't David Lee Roth or he's a total dick, and I decided I'm just gonna drop that. But sometime I do want to get back to that album and do it again, among a bunch of other stuff I'm supposed to do. LOL. But that's one of them. I want to do another take of the whole album of Eat 'em and Smile. It's been a while since I've revisited that, you know. Okay, anything else as far as songs goes? There's another thing on again, back to Big Trouble solo. There's a part in the let's see, what part is that? Let's see. It's in the Lydian part of the solo. It's the part when it's in E Lydian. That's correct. Yeah, F, G, A. Yeah. It's in the E part of the E Lydian solo of part of the solo to Big Trouble by Steve Vai. And if it's in E Ionian, wait, I didn't say that. E Lydian, it would be F sharp mixolydian or G sharp Aeolian. And part of the G sharp lick is this. It's just a pentatonic G sharp, you know, Aeolian / pentatonic part. But then if you go up 5 frets, you get the Dorian position because it's A, B, C, D, 6, 7, 1, 2. And on the ninth, this would then be the 9th fret position. You would have this. But then he goes up an octave. So instead of on the 9th fret, he goes to the 12th plus 9, which is 21st fret. I don't know, I forget the exact lick. It's on these strings. Same thing though. Sometimes the concept is just as valid as the actual notes played. Because if you don't know the concept, you can make it your own and make your own lick out of it without even people thinking you borrowed from somebody. And that's actually it. It's a 4th and 5th string, but it could work on the 3rd and 4th too. Wait, or would it? Let me think again. A, B, C, D. Oh, I correct myself there. Actually, if you go up 5 frets, you'd have a flat. So actually, you'd have to go like this. That sounds better, doesn't it? Because you're working with the same idea as I said in the elephant gun solo. You have G sharp, Aeolian, or a G sharp. We'll call it Aeolian. It's a pentatonic position. Up 5 frets would be the C sharp position, and if you keep the G sharp Dorian principle, you'd have a flat there. The flat because you're up 5 frets. Now go up 7 frets. You're now at the 11th fret. You have a sharp, but he's not doing any. He's not playing those strings to make that matter. He's playing the 4th and 5th string. So he's basically just going. So he doesn't care about the flat that is involved because he's not. The flat's on the 3rd string. He's not playing the 3rd string. He's playing the 5th and 4th and 5th string. When he goes up an octave with that, from the 9th fret to the 21st fret, he uses the whammy bar. Anyway, I think that's cool. That's a little messy. Let's try it again. Oh, wait, here we go. How many times have you said to yourself, feel like you go, give it to back. Wait. How many times have you said to yourself, feel like you go, oh, wait. How many times have you said to yourself, feel like you go, oh, yeah. How many times have you said to yourself, feel like it goes, there's the endless in my feet. You guys get it. Alright, how many times have you said to yourself, feel like it goes, where's it go? Okay. So just some these ideas may seem like on the fringe of thought, but they really do matter, you know. Going up an octave with certain parts and staying in pentatonic shapes, and there's a flat if you go up 5 frets, and there's a sharp if you go up 7, and then there's a F sharp would be Dorian, the G sharp would be Phrygian, and then add the F sharp on the an octave higher, and then we have this cool lick. There's all kinds of cool stuff in music, and I'm sorry if it gets a little technical and a little nerdish and academic, but it's what it takes to know the music, you know. So anyway, how long have I been going here? Okay. I do want to add some just purely theoretical aspects to this lesson. I don't want to just be he played a couple songs. So I want to go into some more theoretical ideas for some of the rest of this lesson. I like the 4 main permutations of 7-note scales that don't have a diminished third and don't have an augmented third. That is, they don't have 2 half steps in a row, and they don't have a minor third plus or which is actually an augmented second with the whole step above it or below it. And there's no gaps like that. And the 4 are major scale, harmonic minor scale, harmonic major scale, and melodic minor scale. I'm going to go over some of that just for fun. Let's say I'm in the key of A. A major is... Note you have a major 7th. They all do because they all have a major dominant chord. It's a 5 chord, which in this case is E would be a major chord, not a minor chord. If 5 chords a minor chord, you get a minor 7th, and that doesn't happen in classical music that much. 5 chord is a dominant or major, either a dominant 7th chord or a major triad, so you get the major 7th. That's this, major 7, root, 9th. And then here we have the major 3rd. It has a lick with the major 3rd, major 6, and everything's cool. for the harmonic minor, you keep the 7th the same, but you flat the 3rd and the 6th. So now you have. For the melodic minor, you sharp the 6th, but leave the 3rd flatted, and of course the major 7th. For the harmonic major, you keep the 3rd, major 3rd, but a flatted 6th and major 7th. So those are the 4 possibilities: major, harmonic minor, melodic minor, harmonic major, major, harmonic minor, melodic minor, harmonic major. Anyway, those are the, but there's auxiliary, what they call exotic scales. There's double harmonic. Sorry. There's enigmatic mode. That's full scale. There's whole tone. Diminished. And then I want, before I go, or before you go, LOL, I want to do some technical stuff before I go. I like the hand over hand tapping. And I like the over the neck thing, but first, before I do that, I like the back and forth. And I like the over the neck with picking. A little sloppy at it again. I'll do it all day. But when you go over the neck, keep in mind that your first finger is still your strongest finger. Only now the first finger is on a higher position than it is a lower. Here the first finger is in a low position. Here it's on the high position. But, so rather than focus on the pinky, the weakest finger, just focus on the first finger, but know you're on the higher position rather than the lower one. guess he's gone. I don't know.